is Mark again from CBH Home Care. It's time to put those shovels away and get ourselves ready for spring. And it's that time of the year, obviously. Snow hopefully is totally gone for the year. And now what we do for the issue of lawn care. Many of us have that nice token little concept known as irrigation. Irrigation is fantastic in many ways, but it'll also be a little bit tricky towards the mid and dog days of summer, we'll say. Irrigation is basically a runoff of the snow melt of the mountains coming down into the valleys, hence the name Treasure Valley. That is the greatest treasure of the Treasure Valley, is that natural resource that we all have to have for living, obviously water. Most of the homes, not all, but the majority of all homes have irrigation. And what do we do with it? Well, obviously, a little bit later on in this conversation, we'll be talking about our sprinkler timer boxes who run these nice little sprinklers in our yards, and how long and when do we do it, and so on. Next issue is setting that time. Comes on, like I say, when, where, how much. We'll go into that in greater detail. Well, the next question is, hey, irrigation is great. It's water. It's relatively free, very, very low cost compared to other areas in which you could live in the United States. And the other issue is, well, when does it come down off the mountains? Well, that's a good point. I always name it as, think of it as tax day. About April 15th is when we will start hearing of the chatter of, obviously on newscast and so on and radio, the irrigation water is now in. That's when in which they open up the dikes and they start letting that water come down those particular canals. Safety point, obviously if you have children, keep them away from those canals at all times. It looks great, it looks like fun. It's very, very dangerous. So above all, keep them away from those canals at all times. Extremely cold temperatures in those canals, it's not a place where you can play and swim. So please understand that. Okay, so enough with the issue of irrigation and the issue of what do we do and how do we get it turned on. Those issues will be explained a little bit later. So I have my sprinklers. That deals with all the issues of irrigation. That will come through your yard. You got your sprinklers, we'll set those timers up, you're good to go. Well, what do we do now? We got brand new sod, and how do we take care of that? Well, it's a great question. This is what, March 12th? And in turn, we got a whole month to wait, basically, a month and maybe a week. Well, the lawn is obviously going to get some dry periods. So, hence, run down to Walmart, Kmart. Oh, Kmart doesn't exist anymore. My apologies. Home Depot, Lowe's, any of those particular areas in which you can pick yourself up. A 50-foot hose should be more than enough to take care of your needs on your yard. We have hose bibs on the house. Screw it into the hose bib. Set yourself up with a little sprinkler, or in which I used to see my mother, who would sit out in the lawn chair and just with a little issue of a nozzle on the end of the hose in the lawn chair, she would sit out there and just spray down the yard so it gets wet. Well, frankly enough, that's about all you need in this particular type or climate of having your yard green up. The old analogy is this: less is more. You never want to overwater your yard. All that does is create a runoff. It goes right across your sidewalks and into the gutters, and it creates a problem, obviously, with the Boise aquifer. We don't want to deal with that. How much is too much? Well, each yard is going to be different. Soil conditions are basically the same. It's called a Class C soil, meaning this: lots of clay and lots of rock. Clay and rock have zero nutrients. So if I water down the clay and water don't mix. It just runs right off, and we have problems, obviously, in the street. So how do I make my yard nice and green? And the old issue is less water, more fertilizer. Because if you look at the sod, and if I pull up a corner of sod, we only have basically a ½ inch of soil underneath that sod. So if I'm looking down there, I only have a little bit of true dirt to deal with the issue of nutrients in the soil. So once that 1/2 inch of dirt is truly wet, that's all we need. And therefore, that's where the nutrients need to be. If you follow the basic rule, you're going to have a yard greener than St. Patty's Day by April 1st. Right now, what I would do is go over your yard with a fertilizer. Nice even spread throughout the yard. Set your sprinkler up, or you can do what my mother used to do with the lawn chair and just sit out and spray the yard. You can do that very, very easily, okay? With trees, never overwater. I would even go to the point of going out and getting those fertilizer stakes. Okay, so if you have a diameter such as like 2 inches around there, I would go 2 feet out and put the fertilizer stakes in. I would probably put 3 around this. And again, same issue. I want water. Yes, I don't want to overwater. That's the catch. There's all too often I've been to too many homes. My tree is dead. I walk over, we remove the tree, and the entire pot is full of water. Obviously, it was overwatered, and therefore that's unfortunately how the tree died. So we want to be aware of those issues as well. Okay? So we covered what is irrigation. That's that natural flow coming off the mountains, dealing with the snowpack. 2, irrigation lines or the canals keep your kids away. Extremely cold temps, very fast water. 3, how much do we want to water and where do we want to water it at? Obviously, you want to deal with your yard, your property. You stay with your confinement of those issues. Fertilizer more, water less. Yes, we want the fertilizer to melt into the soil. Remember, it's only about a 1/2 inch thick. We want to save those nutrients that are there. Yes, over time, we will have a situation where the clay in your soil off the sod will blend together. That is a true statement, but it's going to take time. So be aware of those issues. So, if there's anything else we can help you with on the concept of soils, Class C soils, again, is all clay and stone. Be aware of that. This is a treasure valley. Yes, we're treasured with the fact of that natural flow of water coming in to the basin, known as the Treasure Valley, and that is the true treasure. So, if we can help out more, give us a call, email, text, or however you do it those nowadays. I'm not really tech savvy on all those fun things. Ask your kids, they know. They'll tell you all the ropes you need to take. But contact CBH Home Care. You can ask for me or any other of the competent people we have there. We got Jamie, we got a new young lady there. Her name is Katie. We got Steve, we got Rich. There's a whole party there that we can help out with. So, get back to us. We'd be more than happy to help. Thank you.